You're listening to The Morning Takeover with Wisdom's Daughter and James Mack on 92.7 WKRA-FM, your station for information and inspiration. Breaking news, current events, and trending stories on The Morning Takeover at 9. Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Morning Takeover. I am Wisdom's Daughter. I'm here with James Mack in the building. Hope everyone had a great weekend. We've got some things to talk about. So last week, we ended on a very interesting note, talking about the presidential debate. Well, I really mean debacle, and it was. We've got some foreign countries actually weighing in on the debate, so we'll be talking about that later in the show. But we need to talk about Sir Donald Trump. He has apparently scammed a local barbershop into utilizing their place of business for a MAGA campaign event. We're going to get into all of those stories and more. But first, we've got James with your local weather. James, good morning.
Good morning. Happy 1st of July to you and to everyone. It's been rather hot this past weekend. Ending the month of June, and it seems like we got a little bit of relief on this morning, according to our forecast that we have today. Today, we're going to have some sunshine, of course, and it's going to be a beautiful day out, along with some clouds in intervals, and our high is going to reach about 86 to 87 degrees. The winds will be coming out of the northeast at 10 to 15 miles an hour. And tonight, for those of you that are going to various events and pre-holiday celebrations for this week, tonight's forecast is going to be clear skies, the low of about 70 to 75, going down as low as about 65 degrees with winds out of the northeast and the southeast at about 5 miles. So it's going to be pretty calm with the winds. We have really a 3% chance of rain. So our next rain chance will be coming later in the week on Friday with a 58% chance of precipitation coming. So our grass is going to suffer a little bit. But right now we got 73 in Oxford, 71 in Olive Branch, and 73 in the Memphis, Selby County area. And it's going to be a little bit warmer starting back again on tomorrow in the lower to mid 90s. And that's your forecast that we got for today. You all be safe, and Wisdom, they're still talking about your wonderful feature that you had on last week.
Well, James, that is just simply what we do here on the Morning Takeover. We have to bring people the news, and there was so much to unpack from that event. There were so many other things that I wanted to talk about. I know we didn't get to go or to dive deep into this issue of CNN blocking out Black media, but you know, as I told you, we were having our own debate at that event in-house amongst ourselves, and it got quite heated at times to the point where security had to be called. And so not exactly sure what CNN's reasoning for locking out Black media, but I'm pretty sure that there's going to be some repercussions from that. I believe there are a number of communities that are pushing back on CNN for that. There were other things that we didn't get to talk about as well, such as Donald Trump suggesting two things. Him suggesting that the Black community, he identifies with the Black community, and he's one of us now because of his incarceration. I mean, just things like that boils my blood. And we're going to get more into what's happening locally in the Black community in Atlanta as it relates to this local barbershop. But and then of course there are other things that he said that just, you know, some of the things he says you have to take with a grain of salt, because some of the things he says are so racist. He talked about the fact that illegal immigrants are taking Black jobs, you know, as if
what's a Black job? Can you tell me what that is?
Thank you. As if to say that the only job that Black people can get are low paying jobs. And think about it. Most illegal immigrants probably don't speak the language. And so think about the kind of jobs that they're getting, not being able to speak English. They're going to be janitorial. They may be, cleaning. They may be busting tables. Is Donald Trump suggesting that those are the only kind of jobs that Black people can get? I mean, the man is so out of touch with reality, and there are still people that will vote for him, even amidst the lies and the racism, the blatant racism, and everything else. But yeah, and we did not get into your we didn't hear from you. What was your reaction to the debate? Tell me what you saw.
Well, I saw a elder statesman who has been around the world, and I'm not making any excuses for him, that has tried and is trying and has accomplished bringing the United States back to certain tables. So, and I saw a seasoned person. I don't want to call him senior, but a seasoned person that may not move like he used to and may not as functional. Now, if we were 25 and 30, okay, fine, I can jump over the fence and I can run from the dog that chases me up the street. And, I can do a whole lot of things, run a whole lap without having to say my leg is hurting or I got a cramp somewhere. Age is there, but then the experience and what this man has done in office. This is what I see from all of the to elaborate on the criticisms that I've even heard. He's too old and something's wrong with him or something like that. Well, no, he wasn't feeling well, but looking at it overallly, his opponent lied through the whole, not half, not a 3/4 or anything like that, but everything that came out of his mouth was garbage. And why do I say that? I say that because here you have the man that brought us out of, along with his administration, to try to put us on even footing, and done that with an economy that was tanking around the world. And he went to work. He rolled his sleeves up. Now, anybody that's ever been an observer of the president knows that he shoots straight from the hip. He's from Scranton, Pennsylvania. Okay, and he's from a blue collar family, and they shoot from the hip. Yeah, he's from blue collar family. I mean, he didn't have a pedigree or had a silver spoon in his mouth like other people have, although they took from the poor and gave to the rich. But he knows people. He knows how to deal with people, and he knows how to get the job done. So kudos to the president. I'm praying for his strength. Please continue, sir, to improve and to get you some rest and sit back and get your feet rubbed and all those other things that you need to do. You have a wonderful wife and family. Give him an opportunity. It's not the end. This is just we're just coming out of June into July. We still got a little more. We got time for him to make sure that his message is out there. For those of you that support whoever your candidate is, whether you thought your candidate won or you thought the other candidate was sickly or whatever the case may be, I say what my mother, who is 92 years old, Miss Ida May says, keep living. You're going to, because don't you feel sometime when you, no, I'll say me, I'm not going to say you. I can't get off the couch sometime. I fall over and waddle and everything. I get up and I got to, I look, well, no, that's just a little season. I realize and accept, that James he's not a spring rooster. I ain't one of them roosters. But ain't nothing hurting now, and everything work, ain't nothing broke. But all those saying that, I think that if I would have felt better if they canceled it. If you knew that, and if his advisors would have said something, and would have said, well, Mr. President, just sit this one out, and it's not, we got to make sure that you're up to par. But he kept his obligation. He showed up. He did have facts.
It was a
Yeah,
mistake
yeah,
on their part. I agree
yeah,
with you. I think
yeah.
that knowing that he had just come back from Europe, that he was tired and that he had a cold. But I'm wondering if, because there was information put out there as to whether or not Donald Trump would show up, that maybe he felt like he had to show up.
Yeah.
And we don't know what the repercussions would have been for him rescheduling. However, you and I were having a discussion earlier today, and you were telling me that he did much better in North Carolina.
Oh
That he
man, let
put
me tell you about. I wish I could tell you. Let me tell you about that. Now everybody was hollering, everybody screaming, "Oh, the man is such a soul." You even had people every on other places. We'll get to that discussion in a later. Oh, what's going on with America? The very next, not night, evening, afternoon, that morning, he got to North Carolina, and the speech that he gave was the speech that Joe Biden would give, straight from the hip, talking to the people, not the bureaucrats or the tyrants or the people that caused January 6th. He wasn't talking about I'm going to pardon them and I'm going to do that. He shot straight from the hip and said, "Listen, people, you all don't listen. No, I don't move like I used to. No, I might not have the speed of coming back like I used to as far as talking and hitting like I supposed to. But one thing I do know, and I quote him saying this: I know this job and I get things done. Mr. President, I take my hat off to you at a man of your age and experience that has given more to this country than the person that's running against you." And I'm trying to lay off even saying the man's name. I ain't gonna say it yet. We're gonna hear about him a little bit
you mean
more. But
you mean Ellen?
I take
You
my
meant
hat off to him. Don't call people old just because they over 50, and all you old fogey folks and you old school people, because it would be no new school if it wasn't an old school, and then you wouldn't have a history if it wasn't nobody to live the history. So I appreciate my elders. I appreciate the experiences and the things that this man in his lifetime went through. He lost his first wife and children, one of his children, in a tragic accident, and still took the oath of office. And you know where he took the oath of office at? A lot of people you forget, but I'm going to remind you. He did it right from the hospital room where his other two surviving children at that time were in the hospital, and he took the oath of office. He's a family man. He's a
Wow.
man that listens to the people. I'm not saying he's perfect. I'm not saying that I agree with everything that he's saying, but I got to take my hat off to this gentleman that he had the tenacity and the guts to say, "All right, I'm going to bed. I'll holler at y'all in the morning. We just pick up where we left, and we're going to do what we have to do." And that speech that he gave in North Carolina with
Mm.
the people that were around him that did not look like a one-sided part of America. It looked like a melting pot of Americans. And I saw people that look like me and other people that are in this country that want freedom and want democracy. And like I said, I will take my hat off. And brother, you need a round of applause. I don't agree with everything that you say. I don't agree with everything that you do and what you stand for, even in the past. But brother, I got to say, Wisdom, I got to give him credit because one, he's not a convicted felon and he
I know
did
that's
not
right.
lie. He ain't a liar. You know, he ain't going around grabbing women in parts he ain't supposed to be grabbing that. And he's not
He's not
indicted in the
telling
federal
people to
courts.
drink bleach. He's not
He
telling
ain't, and
people
he,
to
yeah,
drink
he
bleach.
ain't indicted, and he didn't get impeached. They trying to do it on some bogus stuff in the Congress. They need to sit down somewhere. But this man has not committed what I consider as as treason. He didn't lead a barrage of his supporters to go and storm a official act of Congress that has to go forth according to the Constitution. So what are they talking about? You know, what is he talking about? What is anybody talking about? Keep living, folks. Keep living. You may be 30, you may be 40, you may even be 50, or whatever the case may be. You keep getting those birthdays, keep getting them, okay? Something eventually is going to creak and pop, and you're going to roll off the couch like I did. Sometime I miss it. I rolled off, and I don't make it because I got that spasm. It'll hit me in the thigh. You know,
Well,
right
here's
there
the
at the
thing,
calf.
James. James, here's the thing. Donald Trump is not that much. there's not that much of an age gap between Biden and Trump. Biden is 81 and Donald Trump is 78. I mean, it's only a matter of a couple of years. And honestly, the only thing that people can really get Biden on, I've seen the memes, I've seen people cracking jokes on him with him saying what sounded like nonsense because, again, he had a cold, he had a sore throat. And he wasn't necessarily completing all his sentences, and Donald Trump was hilarious. But my opinion, I don't think it was a good first debate for either one of them. They're both probably out of practice. Yeah. However, after our commercial break, we're going to be talking because it seems again that the debate has reached foreign shores, and there is some talks going on in Israel regarding Biden's performance. So we're going to talk a little bit about that because apparently the Israelis are somewhat concerned or were showing concern after President Biden's shaky debate performance. And so we'll get into that in a little bit. Anything else that kind of stood out to you that you heard during the debate from either side, from Biden or from Donald Trump, that was either troubling, problematic, or promising to you?
Well, everything that Donald Trump says is not troubling. It's expected. I expect him to get up there and lie and spook and sit there and try to rally people to his defense and to his side and calling. When what really stood out to me at probably the ending of the debate was 3 times the commentator, and that's another thing I'm going to talk about just real quick before we go to our break. The moderators weren't moderating. I don't know where they got. Jake Tapper disappointed me as a journalist and as a newsman. He disappointed me because you're the moderator. You had to ask this person several times, will you accept the results of the election? And he danced around it the first time. He danced around it. That's the other person. Y'all know who I'm talking about, the man that got the orange hair. He danced around it the second time. The third time, the female moderator, supposed to have been, asked him, the question is, sir, will you accept? Well, they stole the election and they did this and that. Now he's still lying his tail off. And people are still eating it up. And I mean, it's a lie. If it wasn't a lie, you'd be president. Okay, you would be the incumbent and this person would be running again against you if it was all of that. All of the courts, 60 times this man went to court challenging the election results. Even, as I said before, January 6th, those officers, those people that work there in the Capitol, those are head of our legislative government and the leadership of succession to the presidency was there. The vice president was there. He didn't care about his vice president. He had a gallows out there. Everybody's hollering, where's Nancy? Where's Miss Pelosi? They didn't say Miss Pelosi. They said some other things, went in her office and tore it up and they had, and eating feces on the wall, all kind of nasty foolishness in the House and in a play, and carried that rebel flag into the House and to the Congress. After a civil war was fought about that, they lost. Ain't no more civil war, folks. So I'm just going to say what you say. You ain't scaring nobody. Nobody's spooked or anything like that. So you might as well fold it up, because real true Americans, real true people that believe in what this country stands for, I truly believe are going to speak, and they're going to speak real soon. And my thing is, if he's not going to accept, now they ain't, not one vote has been cast, and he's still going to try to think that he can pull that garbage, I don't think it's going to work anymore. And I just say again, I don't agree with everything with anybody, really. I can't agree with everything that you do or say or whatever the case may be, and I'm not trying, but I might not agree with this administration on the slowfulness on some things and some things that were said that needed to be done. He's working on them, but I got to truly say the man has kept his word by trying and has kept us out of financial ruins. We got a commercial. Let me hush, because we got a commercial. Go ahead, Wisdom, and
what you're saying is absolutely correct. We talked about it before. I mean, Biden inherited a mess. He brought us out of the pandemic. He got the economy working again. A lot of people don't realize it's not that he's not trying to live up to the promises that he made when he ran for president last time, but the Republicans have pushed back so hard on him, making it very difficult. The same with Barack Obama, making it very difficult for him to get different bills passed and to push different things through. So that's one of the things that we also need to consider. It's not that, Biden lied or that he's not trying. They're not making it very easy for him. Look at what they've done with loan forgiveness. How long was that program put on hold, and he had to push and push and push. And so, yeah, I mean, these are all the things that we, have to consider when we think about, this election. And, as we said, we can't tell you who to vote for, but we'll provide you the information so you can make an informed decision. And on that note, we are going to take a quick break. Again, you're listening to 92.7 WKRA-FM. And we'll be back right after this commercial. Butters and Black Soap offers high-quality, handcrafted butters, black soaps, and oils made with all-natural ingredients that improve the appearance of hair, skin, and nails. Try Butters and Black Soap's amazing collection of African black soaps sourced from Ghana and infused with ingredients such as turmeric, oatmeal, sea moss, coconut milk, activated charcoal, and more to promote healthy-looking skin. Say goodbye to dry, cracked skin with the Sea Moss Body Cream by Butters and Black Soaps. This non-greasy formula will leave your skin soft and supple. If you want to achieve a natural, healthy glow, try one of their whipped shea butters. Indulge in the luxurious feel of African black soaps and more by Butters and Black Soap. Shop now at www.butters_blacksoap.com. Use custom code WISDOM for a 15% discount. Shop now. Wisdom's daughter and James Mack are dominating the airways with the Morning Takeover on 92.7 WKRA-FM, your station for information and inspiration. Would you like to advertise your business on the radio? We're seeking sponsors for the Morning Takeover. Space is limited, so act now. Send an email to morningtakeoverjw@gmail.com for more information. You're listening to The Morning Takeover with Wisdom's daughter and James Mack on 92.7 WKRA-FM, your station for information and inspiration. And we are back. And so we've been talking.
Hey, Wisdom, I got a question before you get into your next phase of our show. I heard something about that wonderful product that Butters and Black, right?
Butters and Black soaps. Mm-hmm.
They say that soap is so good. Now I know that we all got different kinds of textures of skin, but I heard some things. They say it makes you soft and get the hustle. They call it huss in the South. It gets all of the impurities off of you and everything. And I really take my hat off to that company because they have a really great product.
Absolutely. I actually use their products. Their African black soap is no joke. I mean, let's just keep it real. I'm sure many of you have experience, you take a shower, you forget to put on lotion, you get to work, your ankles is ashy, your feet are ashy, your elbows is ashy. You
That's
just
right.
looking like rolling around in baby powder. But
flour.
Well, I said baby powder because I don't
dark
know
people. But I'm just saying for us. See, I'm darker than usual. See, the good Lord must have left me in the toaster a little longer, and I need an extra moisturizer and some things. But I rather use that because it's and it smells good too. I mean,
it smells good. It's all natural. So their products are made with natural ingredients, so they don't have those chemicals and things in it, which is what typically leads to dry skin. And so a lot of the commercial products that we use, even Dove, Ivory soap and all these things, strips the moisture off of your skin, and then you're using lotion to have to put the moisture back. But their products, again, they're all natural, and my skin has never looked better. So can't say enough about it. And yeah, thank you to our sponsors, and shout out to Butters and Black Soaps. So we're going to move right into our next our next topic. And so we've been talking before the break, we were talking about Biden's performance, and we know that he did not perform his best. That is not a good representation of what we know that he's capable of. And all Donald Trump did is lie. However, Israel has expressed growing concern on Sunday, actually, that President Joe Biden's shaky debate performance could spur on the country's Middle Eastern foes at what many view as a critical time for U.S. leadership in the region. It is a critical time because we're coming up on an election year. So Israeli commentators from across the political spectrum warned that Iran and its proxies could try to exploit Biden's apparent weakness as Israel fights Hamas in the Strip. I can't really say the name, but you guys know what's happening in Israel. And they're pretty much weighing the prospects of an all-out conflict with the Hezbollah militia in Lebanon. So U.S. officials have been working to broker a diplomatic solution to the tensions between Israel and Hezbollah in an attempt to avert a wider regional war that they fear could draw both Iran and the United States. The Biden administration is also involved in intense efforts with other mediators to try to advance a truce deal for that area that would involve exchanging the remaining hostages there for Palestinian prisoners in Israeli jails. So this is kind of what's happening overseas. Prime Minister Benjamin, I don't know if I can pronounce this. I guess it's Netanyahu of Israel.
Netanyahu. I said it. Yeah, I said it for you. That's how it's pronounced. Yeah, you know.
Okay, Netanyahu. Get me straight, James, of Israel. Now, he's publicly pressured the Biden administration to speed up munition supplies before any conflagration with Hezbollah in Lebanon. Several of Israel's Sunday newspapers featured the debate on their front pages in a kind of delayed reaction, I should say. Now, the debate took place before dawn Friday local time. After the weekend, papers had gone to the press, and Hebrew dailies are not published on Saturday because it's the Sabbath. And so analysts for Israel Hayam, a right-wing free paper, and the left-leaning Haaretz newspaper differ sharply in tone, but both raise the specter of enemies of Israel and the United States testing the administration's resolve. So ultimately what we have here is Israel kind of looking at this like Biden's performance has ultimately made leadership in the United States look weak. And again, I'm not really going to blame Biden. He's working with the team. He's not making decisions by himself. And as you know, many people have said, he probably is great that he did well the next morning, but he probably should have rescheduled that event if he was not feeling well, which we know that he wasn't. So now there are some on the Israeli right that have mocked Biden's debate performance. And those people are hoping for a victory by Donald Trump. And I'm sure they are, because, you know, Donald Trump is very much like a puppet. And I think he's been used as a puppet in the past because they know he doesn't know a whole lot about politics. And so, you know, he's a businessman and not necessarily a great one. But during the presidential debate Thursday, Trump accused Biden of not wanting Israel to finish the job, calling him weak and raising eyebrows by using the word Palestinian as an insult. And Biden he didn't offer much in you know, in terms of a response. He didn't kind of say too much about it. Or if he did, we didn't really hear him. We know that Biden has been a staunch supporter of Israel throughout the war, although he has also been critical, frequently calling on Israel to limit civilian casualties and to work to mitigate the humanitarian crisis in the Palestinian enclave. And so, again, there's a lot going on. This debate was watched around the world. And so there is backlash. We will see how well Donald Trump does in the next one. But it seems like at least he has attempted to listen to his advisors, other than the lies that he spewed, which I'm pretty sure wasn't on their agenda. But anyway, I am interested. This was just one debate. And although there are many saying that Donald Trump won, I didn't know that it was a competition, but apparently it's going to be a winner. Basically, people are saying that if there was going to be a winner, that Donald Trump won that one. Maybe he did. I mean, again, I am I am not
You are.
necessarily a Trump supporter, but what I would say is that if I had to choose, aside from Donald Trump's lies, I would say that he did perform a little bit better than Biden did. Now, if he had had a sore throat and he wasn't feeling well, I don't know if that would have been the case.
Let me
Um,
help you out a little bit if I can. I just want to say this little bit of piece here. You spoke about Israel and the Gaza Strip. Benjamin Netanyahu, they call him Bibi, but for some reason I refuse to give him that name because we have such a great supporter, Lady Bibi in New York. Forgive me, Lady Bibi. You know I don't mean you, but all of the support. Let's look back a couple of months, and the fight in Congress, wisdom, and I'm not going to. If I'm going, I'm not trying to stray away from your commentary on this. The Congress was fighting. They were trying to give Ukraine the military help that it needed because Mr. Putin and his forces was trying to smash that whole country. It's not even the size of Indiana, I don't think, or something like that. And they needed the military support. And not only did the president support and put out support for Ukraine, but added Israel also. Israel has nothing to say, or should have nothing to say on the diplomatic end about the United States, whether the presence or the support or the leadership that's being shown towards Israel even today, that the United States has given.
but
And
they had a lot to say. They
yeah, they
said
had a lot
that,
to say, but they should be quiet.
yeah,
Because if I'm giving you money and you taking care of your grocery bills and things like, just put it on a simple term like this, I'm helping you out. I'm paying your bill. I'm giving you weapons. I'm giving you the support. Anybody mess with Israel, you know that the United States is going to be on them like whatever. I don't want to say that, but
no, I got you. But here's
yeah,
what they said. They said,
Uh-huh.
in a world rife with aggressive forces, the unflattering image of an American president, the leader of the free world, because I don't know if people, I'm sure people know that, but I don't know if they've really processed that the American president is considered not a leader, but the leader of the free world. And appearing weak and incoherent encourages them to exploit opportunities. And I agree with them. It is not a good look for this country to have a president who is at an event like this that is broadcast all over the world looking feeble, looking weak, and speaking in a manner that sounded incoherent. They called Biden's performance a catastrophe.
Okay.
And I agree with what you said. And think about it.
No.
It's not just about a Biden thing or a
Yeah.
Trump thing. It's about who is the American president, and the American president must appear strong at all times.
And look at it from this way for all of my Jewish brothers and sisters all over the world. Let me say this. If anyone, and I'll quote our great president that we have, our Mr. President that we have now, and he stated in his speech, I got to go back to it. Mess with America if you want to. Think that we weak if you want to. Think because I got this laryngitis and this cold that all he needed was some Father John and some lemon juice and have him a hot toddy and some tea, get him some granddad or something and hook it up. We hook him up. See, we'll hook him up. Now, don't play us cheap. Don't play this country cheap. He is stronger and he's wiser and he has the right people around him. Mr. What's his name, for 4 years showed weakness, bowing down to communist countries and dictators, talking about we love affairs, and we got letters that to Kim Jong Un that he said that we're buddies, and me and Putin talk all the time. How dare you, sir? This war crime criminal that has destroyed and that has put his neck and his foot on people's necks, and the poor people of Ukraine fighting for their lives, trying to protect their sovereignty. This is a sovereign country that they bombarded and bullied. Okay? Israel, and I'm not agreeing with everything that they're doing over there because they could come to the table in good faith and say, let's talk about this thing. I know that they got a history and they got an even deeper history than we have, but then enough is enough. Stop killing civilians like you are. Stop blowing up hospitals like you are. I'm a commentator, and the words that I say are mine, and they're not reflective of anybody else's. But if you're looking at the news, you can tell the Gaza Strip is in trouble. We have a Middle East problem over there. The president sent competent Secretary of State over there and competent uh, defense secretaries to talk it out and say, listen, let me tell you something. We're giving you supplies. We're giving you ammunition. We're not giving you this stuff so you can stop children from receiving hospital. You got to evacuate a whole hospital, and they barely got anything over there. So you want to beat these people to a smithereen and then talk about the president of these United States like we some punks or something, or we just some wimps.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Israel was just saying what everybody else was thinking. I mean, honestly, they're just saying what everybody else. Yeah, I don't think again, like I said, they're basically just saying what other people are thinking. They're saying what other countries are saying, and I don't think necessarily that they're losing confidence in Biden. I just think that they're highlighting the fact that, yeah, maybe it wasn't a good idea to portray a feeble president being broadcast that way, because he's not feeble, but that's how he looked. He doesn't have an issue with his speech, but he was incoherent at times. That's what people saw. Right. And I think what they're trying to highlight is that it could potentially be an issue because people around the world see that, and then they can potentially look at that as a weakness. So,
but can I say this? Can I say this and not in a bad way? The president's opponent, who had the seat, who did every doggone thing in the world, led the insurrection. That was worse. I never thought that I would live to see anybody storm the United States Capitol with the leadership of our country inside, making a decision that would have been traditionally ceremonial, and to see the outrage. If nobody's outraged about that, I got some land over in Saskatchewan, as they say, that I want to sell you, if there's such a place. We as a country have competent leadership. I don't care how it looks. If anybody they said nothing about this guy when he was dogging people out and how he did immigrants and kept people in cages and children, separated them from their family members. Where were these countries when he was doing that? Nobody said anything. Nobody opened their mouth. You know why they didn't open their mouth? They didn't open their mouth because they were getting the benefits of such a country such as ours. I would be I would say this as the president said, and I'm not saying this because I'm such a fan of his, but he said it, we don't bow to anybody, meaning other countries and other tyrants and people that are dictators and people that think that they can just come behind our back and do things. Don't think America doesn't know what's going on. So don't play us cheap. Don't play the president cheap just because he had a cold or something was wrong. What has he done? He kept this country, he kept NATO in order and in line. Europe would be in trouble if America would have pulled out of NATO. That would have given the dictators and the tyrants an opportunity to come and just reap havoc in Europe. So tighten up your belt over there and watch what you say, because it's not over. Just because I coughed or had a cold and I couldn't make it and I had a bad performance doesn't mean that the show ain't going to go on and the show is going to be winnable. Give him an opportunity.
Absolutely. Interestingly enough, you talked about the January 6th, what many have called an insurrection. The event that I was at, there were Trump supporters in the audience and on the panel who ultimately were saying that we need to stop calling it an insurrection, that it was not an insurrection. That an insurrection, and proceeded to define what an insurrection was. But regardless of what you call it, and for those of you who are tuning in on our social media streaming services and on YouTube, uh, there are pictures up on the screen. Now, the definition of an insurrection is a violent uprising against an authority or government. So I'm trying to figure out how they could say that it was not an insurrection. I mean, that looks like a violent uprising against authority and government to me. This is the White House. That's supposed to be the most secure building in the country,
The
besides,
Capitol.
the Capitol, besides the Pentagon. And my question was, if this was the Black Panther Party, if this was Kamala Harris's cousins and them,
Oh my
okay,
God.
we bring in the family picnic to the White House, climbing all through the windows and pushing past officers and doing all of that. If it was the Democrat and Biden supporters, let's just say, that had done that, I believe the Republicans would have had a field day. They would not have let it down. And what bothers me sometimes about the Democratic Party is that when the Republican Party does things like this, we are not as aggressive in challenging it and prosecuting and going after and standing up and saying, no, this is unacceptable, than we know the Republican Party would be if it was the other way around. And I say it all the time, and I'll say it again. Why does Donald Trump get a pass? Why does he constantly get away with doing things that we know if anybody else did it, it would be a major issue? Everyone would be talking about it. They would have been calling for Biden's head if it was people of another color, skin color, if it was people, wearing, Biden for president hats. Okay. Just saying. I mean, just something to think about. And that is ultimately the question. And I haven't gotten a great answer from anybody, but that's ultimately the question that I put on the table. Why does Donald Trump get a pass? Well,
you bring an interesting point out, Wisdom, and that point is this: it was a mob action riot. That's what it was, by people that were supporters of this man. He wanted to lead the charge. Somebody in his detail said, no, we're not doing it. He allegedly lunged at that protective officer and said, you take me, I'm the president, and you take. They say, no, sir. Somebody had to have a cooler head. Whoever that protective person was deserves the Medal of Freedom, because at that time, what if he would have gotten there? I think it would have been a lot harder. And the fear that was in those people's, I don't think it was just the Democrats were scared. Everybody was frightened. I saw Republican senators running and reps were running. And how could you support a person that did this thing? I don't care who you are. How could you support a person that led this insurrection on the Capitol?
Well, here's the thing. We got to be careful, because he didn't lead the insurrection. He wasn't even there. He said what he said and kind of, motivated.
Allegedly led.
Right.
Allegedly.
He allegedly motivated people to stand up, to do something. Now, he didn't say out of his mouth, hey, go storm the Capitol and do yada, yada, yada. We don't know what secret conversations were had. And there are those, again, at this event who are Trump supporters who said that it was another terrorist group that leveraged this opportunity to do this. Who knows? But the thing is, Trump has gotten a pass in the past. He's gotten away with a lot of stuff, and he attempted to get away with this scam, and we're gonna get into it now. But a barbershop owner is now speaking out. And so Donald Trump is not going to get away with this one. So barbershop owner is speaking out after he was duped into holding what ended up being a MAGA Trump rally at his barbershop. So we're going to get into that story. But first, a word from our sponsors. You're listening to The Morning Takeover with Wisdom's Daughter and James Mack are dominating the airways with The Morning Takeover on 92.7 WKRA-FM, your station for information and inspiration. Would you like to advertise your business on the radio? We're seeking sponsors for The Morning Takeover. Space is limited, so act now. Send an email to morningtakeoverjw@gmail.com for more information. You're listening to The Morning Takeover with Wisdom's Daughter and James Mack on 92.7 WKRA-FM, your station for information and inspiration. And we are back. You're listening to The Morning Takeover, 92.7 WKRA with James and Wisdom. We've been having a great discussion about the debate on last week. And now we're getting into some more Donald Trump stuff, because Donald Trump never ceases to surprise us. He is constantly wrapped up in some type of a lie, a scheme, a scandal. An Atlanta Black barbershop owner said on Friday that he lost business after he was misled into hosting a campaign event for former President Donald Trump. Now, on Wednesday, a day before Donald Trump debated sitting President Joe Biden on the CNN stage in Atlanta, the former president's surrogates held an event, the Black American Business Leader Barbershop Roundtable, which is what it was supposed to be, at Rocky's Barbershop, that included a surprise call from Donald Trump himself. So many of you heard about this. I'm sure, like me, some of you were wondering, why in the world would a Black business host a MAGA event, and what was going on? I thought it was strange that that this was supposed to be a campaign event and Donald Trump himself didn't show up. He just kind of called in. Well, the truth is actually coming out. So according to local news outlet 11 Alive, the number of customers flowing into Rocky's barbershop has dwindled since the campaign event. The shop owner, Rocky Jones, told the outlet in an article published last Friday, "We had some calls Thursday. We definitely got some calls, some backlash, some angry people that don't know me, and I have to deal with that." Jones says that he has no involvement in politics. And he added that he was under the assumption that the event was meant to be a forum for small Black-owned businesses. He said, "I thought it was going to be something real private. I'm thinking about Black business in Atlanta, small Black businesses." And I'm like, okay, so when are we going to start talking about this? And then all of a sudden, Donald Trump phones into the event. The owner was shocked. He says, I'm like, why is the ex-president calling somebody in my barbershop? This has nothing to do with small Black business. Meanwhile, Jones told another news outlet, Atlanta First News, that he feels like he's been betrayed by how the event turned out. He also claimed that no one mentioned it would be a political event when they coordinated it, and that he never spoke to a Trump campaign representative. So we actually have a clip from that interview that was done by the news station that we're going to play. So we'll hear from this barbershop owner, and then we will talk about it.
The owner of Rocky's Barbershop in Atlanta says he feels he was misled by a campaign event for former President Trump the day before the debate. Rocky Jones tells our Karis Belger he thought his Buckhead shop was just hosting a forum for Black businesses, but he says he never expected to fade into the realm of politics.
To me, cutting hair is like an art.
And smooth waves are not the only thing Rocky Jones wants his shop to be known for.
We try to specialize in this giving good service to the community. As you can see, I've been here since 17 years and it's been good.
Which is why he jumped at the chance to help other Black business owners get ahead.
Started with a text, then it went to a call because I was actually out the country. And just me agreeing to do a Black small business, roundtable. I thought it was like something real private.
It was anything but. Rocky, along with Black business owners from across Metro Atlanta, crammed into his shop, along with Trump surrogates like Ben Carson. But it wasn't all shop talk.
Thinking about Black business in Atlanta, small Black businesses in Atlanta. And I'm like, okay, so when are we going to start talking about this?
He says a call from former President Trump during the event cut deep.
Why is the ex-president calling somebody in my barbershop? This has nothing to do with small Black businesses.
And he was left with a lot more than razor burn.
We had some calls. Thursday, we definitely got some calls, some backlash, some angry people that don't know me. And I have to deal with that. I have no involvement in politics. We don't even talk politics in my barbershop. It's all sports. Commend everybody to vote, but that's your business. I don't tell you what to do.
The number of customers, he says, has trimmed down, but he hopes the shock will fade and he can keep helping his community. Kara.
So, this is really upsetting. I mean, this man truly was duped. And James actually spoke with a correspondent or representative of the barbershop owner, and he'll give us some more details into what happened here. But I'm not surprised. When I first heard this story, my first question was, why would this Black barbershop owner be hosting a Trump event in his barbershop? It didn't, even cross my mind as to whether or not he was a Trump supporter or not. I was just wondering why would he be doing that? And then it also crossed my mind if he knew that what type of event he was actually going to be hosting. And I, like many of you, jumped to conclusions like, wow, so here this man is, he's got, it's a Black barbershop. Why are we hosting a Trump event in a Black barbershop? My first reaction was, okay, Trump is basically using this as an opportunity, just like what happened at the Black church. So now he's on the Black circuit. Okay, I said it before that the Black vote is a powerful vote. We have more power than we realize as a community. But I'm saying to myself, here it is, Trump is using now a small business to try to make it seem like he has the support of the Black community. And lo and behold, this man had no idea that that's what this actually was. He was duped. James, you actually spoke to a correspondent or a representative of the barbershop owner. Tell us about that conversation. What did they say when you spoke to them?
Well, the interesting part of that conversation with Mr. Jones's representative was the shock that Mr. Jones got by a friend of his and some associates reached out to him, allegedly according to the representative, and it was supposed to have been one thing and it was another. And the deeper part of this, and I have to say this, in our community, in the Black community, we sometimes jump to conclusions. And we have a tendency, before we get the facts and get all of the information that we need, we jump out there. I'm so glad that we're the station for inspiration and information. We want you to be inspired, but we want you to have the right information too. And Mr. Jones, Mr. Rocky Jones, who been in business for over 17 years, has a standing in that community, have served and has probably given so many haircuts, and he has 8 employees. And as we know, as we follow the president's challenger, we know that with him comes a lot of smoke and mirrors, but a lot of smoke, which would cause some people to, we live in a society where people have a tendency to bash, drag, and dump dirt on people that especially around now and election time like this, and especially with the contest like it is, this
Yeah,
misinformation could have caused him to lose a whole lot of, if not even some kind of harm could have come, or vandalism or something. God forbid that you do that. And we reached out to their representatives, and we're going to be continuing to have a dialogue with them for further weeks to come. We're going to have that dialogue. But he didn't know that it was going to happen like it happened. And
what did he actually say happened? And I'm asking that question because he signed an agreement with the Trump campaign and was paid for the time that they spent in his barbershop for this event. Now, Newsweek actually reviewed a copy of that agreement, and it was signed by the shop owner. It says Javier Jones and Bradley Crate from the Trump campaign. And the Trump campaign agreed to pay $4,800 to rent Rocky's barbershop for 2.5 hours on Wednesday afternoon for the purpose of, and it's, I guess, Donald Trump for President 2024, holding a political event, according to the document. Now, Jones told Atlanta First News that he was paid to close his shop for the event, but said he will now, he said he's going to pay the money back. He's going to give the money back. But maybe Mr. Jones didn't read what he signed. But according to Newsweek, that document was clear as to what it was for. So what exactly did happen here?
According to his representative, and we would like to, give them an opportunity to respond. But from the discussion that I briefly had, it was supposed to have been a round table of various business owners, small Black business owners in that area or in the Atlanta area that was going to come at a barbershop, an informal place. It wasn't a boardroom or a major studio. You couldn't get that many people inside of that business. It was about 30 people from the 30 media members that were outside of the business that were waiting to get it. You couldn't get all those people in there. And you had Republican Congressman Byron Donalds from Florida and Wesley Hunt. And you had Dr. Ben Carlson. He was the former Secretary of the Housing and Urban Development under Trump, that they figured that, hey, they were going to have a discussion. He did not expect, according to the representative, that the former president was going to call in. It was going to be a Trump show like it was. And you can see the anguish on his face, like, wait a minute. Okay, I agreed to have, listen, it says political event or whatever the case may be, but he had the understanding that it was going to be a symposium, a roundtable event to talk about the businesses or Black minority businesses. And you bring these surrogates that look like us, but they're not really for us in our community, as I can see from what I see. Anybody that that's just my opinion, but they come in, and it was supposed to have been that kind of the discussion. And there was I call, and it should be a breach of the agreement, because this wasn't agreed to. I don't believe that this man, knowing who probably was the sponsor or the person that gave the financing for that time allotted for that business, did not know that, hey, it was going to go the way that it is. So we're going to be reaching out to the representative again and to get more comment from them. I don't want to stretch it a little bit. I can't say too much because I don't have that information, but I'm going to get it. I agree with you that in some cases maybe it wasn't clear. The agreement wasn't clear, or what the intentions of the gathering was just not clear. And then what happened was you get this disaster on. It's the typical playbook. You said in Detroit, here comes the Trump campaign, supposed to be doing one thing and did another. You had a full-fledged rally there with people that never came to that area probably, or never stepped in a church, a Black church in Detroit, were there. And the people that were there, it were more people of another race than it was those people that were actually a part of that community trying to say, well, I got support from the black community. It was, like you say, hoodwinked and bamboozled and led astray. That's what happened. And the voting strength that we have as a people, and like you said, it is strong. If we knew what we had, that's why I say, everybody, don't just register, get out and vote. Your vote matters. Your vote matters, but it should not be taken advantage of by people with these smoke and mirrors. And I'm going to continue to be in contact with Mr. Jones's representatives for future comment.
All right, and we'll be right back after this short break. Wisdom's Daughter and James Mack are dominating the airways with the Morning Takeover on 92.7 WKRA-FM, your station for information and inspiration. Would you like to advertise your business on the radio? We're seeking sponsors for the Morning Takeover. Space is limited, so act now. Send an email to morningtakeoverjw@gmail.com for more information. You're listening to The Morning Takeover with Wisdom's Daughter and James Mack on 92.7 WKRA-FM, your station for information and inspiration. And we are back. Those of you who are just tuning into The Morning Takeover with James and Wisdom, we've been talking about this Black barbershop in Atlanta that hosted what turned out to be a Trump campaign event. Unbeknownst to him, allegedly, according to the owner, he did not know that this was going to be a political event. And unfortunately, the repercussions of this event has been a loss in business. He has been criticized. He's gotten phone calls. He said there are a lot of people in the community that are not too happy with his business right now. And we've been talking about the fact that this is what Donald Trump does. It was a ruse. Donald Trump did the same thing at the Black church in Detroit just the other week, holding a campaign at this Black church with the knowing and open support of this Black pastor to make it seem like the Black community is standing behind Donald Trump. So don't be bamboozled by his tactics. This was another tactic. Unfortunately, this business owner may not have read the fine print. Again, according to Newsweek, they got a copy of the agreement that was signed by Javier Jones, who's the owner of Rocky's Barbershop, along with a signature from Bradley Crate from the Trump campaign, with the campaign agreeing to pay him $4,800 to run his barbershop for 2.5 hours that Wednesday afternoon for the purpose of, and it actually says DJ TFP 24, which stands for Donald Trump for President 2024, holding a political event. Jones is now saying that he's going to return the money. This is not what he signed up for. He thought that he was going to be engaging an event that was about Black business, not being used to as a ploy to make people think that he has the support of the Black community. Now, an interesting comment came through from former Republican National Committee Chair Michael Steele. Actually rebuked Trump's remarks on Saturday on MSNBC's The Weekend. He said a couple of things. He said, so what jobs would those Black and Hispanic jobs be, I wonder, in response to Donald Trump stating that Biden is allowing these millions of people, these illegal immigrants, to take Black jobs, and that they're taking Hispanic jobs. So his question is, well, what Black and Hispanic jobs is he talking about? But he also criticized Trump's call into Jones's barbershop on Wednesday, saying, you want to make a play for Black folks, you can't even show up at a Black barbershop. You call into a barbershop and you're going to talk to us about Black jobs? Shut the hell up. Why do we even entertain this crazy? Why do we even entertain this from this crazy fool? So a lot of people have had much to say about this. And here's the thing. Donald Trump has presented himself to be a liar. We already know that he's a convicted felon. He has presented himself to be untrustworthy, because this is not the first time that he's done something like this. However, this is the first time that someone who's hosted an event like this is coming out and saying, hey, I didn't know that that's what this event was supposed to be for. Now, whether or not he read the fine print, we don't know. Maybe we'll be able to find out more. But the point is, as he said, he himself never spoke to the Trump representative. It wasn't clear to him that Donald Trump wanted to host a campaign event in his barbershop. They knew exactly what they were doing. So what this should again suggest to the Black community is that Donald Trump understands, number one, Georgia is a swing state, but he also understands how important it is to garner the Black vote. Now he's trying to garner the Black vote. We want to take us back to Jim Crow because it was a good thing. We want to make America great again, but Donald Trump is damn near dying on the vine and risking it all just to garner the Black vote. Because why?
You're exactly right.
Because why? Because he wants to win. He just wants to win. He wants to win. He wants to be president again. He wants to win. It was profitable, James, for him the first time. He made good money the first time. So if he can do it again, he can make some more money. Can he not?
He can stay. He wants to stay out of jail. He wants to stay out of jail. He knows that jail, he's throwing rocks at the entrance of the jail. And as we know, the 11th of this great new month of ours, he's going to be sentenced. Whatever it is, I have no idea. But we know that no matter what the appeals are, he's still a convicted felon. Now, to bring the point to where you were saying about the agreement between Mr. Jones and whomever set this up, I fault them, number one. Number two, because I believe that if this man knew what was coming or what the plan was, they didn't tell him. All of a sudden, they just say, oh, well, we got a call from Donald Trump and hoodoo and this and that and the other. Now, you got all these media outlets out here to cover this round table. I would have been nervous then. Why are they here? I thought this was just... Yeah.
He said he was out of the country, right? He said he was out of the country at the time, I guess, when this was negotiated. So he apparently, like I said, he may not have read the fine print, and this is a lesson to everyone. I even I'm adamant with my own mom about this. Do not sign anything unless you read it first. Exactly. You shouldn't sign it if you didn't read it. Now, the NAACP actually clapped back a little bit against Donald Trump's comment, because we didn't get to talk about this last time, about the Black jobs. So Derek Johnson, president and CEO of the NAACP, said of Trump's Black jobs comment, there's no such thing as a Black job. That misinformed characterization is a denial of the ubiquity of Black talent. We are doctors, lawyers, school teachers, police officers, and firefighters, etc. The list goes on, he told the Associated Press. He said a Black job is an American job. It's concerning that a presidential candidate would seek to make a non-existent distinction. But the divisive nature of this content is not surprising for Donald Trump. Trump's allies, like the Black Conservative Federation president Deontay Johnson, defended the former president by saying, oh, he meant the jobs of Black people. And we've been using that term for a while. It's any job. Instead let's finish this comment. Yeah, instead of Black people having this is what, because it's important for the people to hear this, right? I can't just give them one side. This is what the Black Conservative Federation President Deontay Johnson said. Again, he's defending the president. He meant the jobs of Black people. And we've been using that term for a while. It's any job. Instead of Black people having unlimited accessibility to all types of jobs, illegal immigrants are taking their jobs from them. This is his defense as to Donald Trump claiming that, Black, because there's a such thing as a Black job. And again, there are people out there that are going to vote for this man and have no problem with the divisiveness, with the lies, with the racism, with the scamming, the scandals, the trickery, the foolery, all of it. What were you going to say, James? I'm done.
I'm wiping my eyes from crying. I'll say this, and in all fairness, true. A business person is supposed to make sure that when you go into any venture and you know that money is being exchanged for whatever the case may be, please read, as you say, read all of it, fine print, everything, read the title, read who printed it or whatever the case may be. But when I'm looking at is why are we so gullible and why do Donald Trump get a pass? Nobody else could get away with this. Nobody else. We wouldn't let, God forbid, and I know that this is true, and anybody can disagree if they like to disagree, that's fine. If it was Barack Obama doing this foolishness, and none of this would be going on. So to me, or accepting him, we wouldn't accept it. We wouldn't accept it. If he was acting like this, we wouldn't have never voted for him for nothing. He wouldn't have been senator out of Illinois. He would not be a nominee for president. He wouldn't even be a candidate if he carried on and acted like this. Why does this man get a pass on everything that he does when he criticizes President Biden? Okay, fine. He had a bad night. You can holler all night. I don't know a singer, entertainer, preacher, or anybody that's living that ain't had a sick day. Okay, and saying that, okay, I didn't feel good today. I'm sick, or whatever the case may be. There's some virus going around, or whatever's happening. We can't consider that. But yet, and still in all, this man that has said the most vile and done the most vile things. He's a crook, number one. He stole, robbed, or whatever you want to call it. He's been convicted of forging or doctoring the books. He's hiding things. He's committed crimes. He's made money while he was president. He made money. The hotel right across the street from the old post office that was turned into a luxury hotel right across the street from the White House. Trump owned it or had an interest in it. He wasn't supposed to have an interest in it. He was supposed to have put his interests in trust or his businesses in trust. Yet instead of all, Junior and his brother are running things, but they ain't running anything. They're just there. He's running it from the White House. Jared Kushner, his son-in-law, he gets a $2 billion. $2 billion from a foreign entity that he was a representative of our government. And he got this. The Treasury Secretary. And then got away with it. Nobody's screaming to the top of their lungs that the Treasury Secretary under this man got deals, underhanded deals. He's dealing deals for his golf resort. They have a new golf league that they started that he gets benefit from, that they paid him off to do. Hey, we want to use your golf club. We want to use your hotel to book our guests in. And he got direct benefit from the United States government. He charged the United States Secret Service for staying in his resorts. They protecting you, but you got to, we pay. They got to pay just like everybody else. They're protecting you. You couldn't make an exception for the people that protect you. This man is a crook. From his track record, he's a crook. Nobody's saying anything. It's okay for him to come in and insult a black business. It's bad enough that we're fighting each and every day for a piece of the American pie. But when you get your pie, here comes somebody trying to take your slice of pie. You couldn't take my slice of pie. Okay, this man worked 17, 18 years to build a business in a community that sometimes we don't know what's going to go on and with the things that are happening. And they took advantage of this man in the time that he was trying to make transition coming from his travels and he thought it would be a good idea to have a discussion about minority black businesses at a black barbershop at a relaxed environment. And here they come with the ruse and have this man call in with 30 to 40 cameras and microphones there recording it all. How does that make that man look? Oh, they get a pass. The people that created this mess get a pass. Why does Donald Trump get a pass on the garbage that he's doing? The president can't have a cold. He can't feel bad. He's human. He's not God. He's human. Okay, so we can at least understand that, oh, if the world comes to an end because this man sneezed or he had a cough or he's hoarse or whatever, he's been flying all over the world trying to do the best that he can to keep America on the footing and in the forefront of world leadership, to keep things from boiling over as far as they're hot already, but he's trying to keep things cool. And yet and still in all, those people that support this person, after everything that he did, he's a SA person. He's a person that committed SA against a person. Okay, he talked about it openly on videotape, and everybody from the evangelicals who say we love God and this and that, but we'll accept him, versus somebody that's really out there in the fight trying to make sure that our country is secure. Something is wrong with that picture.
Listen,
with me.
Trump is vile. Again, he's a liar. He cannot be trusted. He's not knowledgeable on international policy, on intergovernmental relations, on the government at all. And so would you hire Donald Trump to run your company?
No.
Would you if Donald Trump was Donald Trump but he was younger, is he someone that you would want representing your organization? Is he someone that you want to marry off to your daughter? And I'm not talking about Donald Trump, because see, when I was at that event, I actually spoke to the Trump supporters and asked them these questions, and the answers that I got was yes. Oh yeah, I would have him run my company, and oh yes. And I said, okay, so in my mind, I'm thinking, so you would hire a liar, a convicted felon, who was not just a convicted felon, it was 34 felony charges for fraud having to do with money, financial fraud, ultimately, because he misrepresented what that money was used for. The money that he was paying back to his lawyer, which he deemed as legal fees, but it wasn't really legal fees, right? So you're talking about a liar, a convicted felon. You're talking about someone who scams people, someone who hires people to do work and then doesn't pay them, someone who has openly said, I don't care about you, I just want your vote, someone who was throwing paper towels and supplies, not to, but at Hurricane Maria survivors. Someone who told people during the pandemic, oh, you don't have to go to the doctor. If you want to, if you can use bleach. Bleach gets rid of everything. So go ahead and inject bleach and drink bleach during the pandemic. Someone who didn't know enough not to give away our entire stockpile, so that by the time the pandemic reached our shores, we didn't have the supplies that we need. We didn't have the ventilators that we need. And a lot of people lost their lives who shouldn't have, because they were waiting on ventilators and waiting on supplies that should have been in the national stockpile. I can go on and on and on. Yes, you're talking about someone who's committed SA, someone who's openly bragged about it because of who he is. So think about the qualities of someone like Donald Trump. Is that someone that you would want to vote? Because here's the reality. The reality is that because of Donald Trump's shenanigans and with some of these recent coordinated events at Black businesses and Black establishments, he has his numbers in terms of support from the Black community have risen, and Biden's has decreased. And so
I wanted to know. I'm asking.
Says the statistics. I'm not making this up. I mean, this information is coming from CNN. I'm putting it out.
Blowing my mind. That's all I'm saying. It's blowing my mind. You know, I'm jumping off the roof over here.
There are some people who are not going to vote because they don't feel like their vote is going to count. let me just say this. Your vote counts. And I'm going to keep saying it as long as I have a platform to say it. The Black vote, there's power behind that. And so it doesn't matter what race you are, to be honest with you. Everybody needs to vote, and it doesn't matter who you choose to vote for is your right and your business. Again, we're all about inspiration and information, and we want you to be inspired. Look at this like a job interview and ask yourself, look at the characteristics and the qualities of the man, and does he meet your expectations of who you would want to be president of the United States? It's not that difficult of a question. So we are just about out of time. We want to thank all of our listeners for tuning in. Those of you who've been listening on the radio station on 92.7, those of you who are listening over Facebook and YouTube and other platforms. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about how Black Americans fared economically under Donald Trump and under Joe Biden, because Donald Trump touted some numbers during the first presidential debate, basically saying that the economy is the best it's ever been when he was president. And so we're going to look at some numbers, and we're going to talk about how Black Americans have fared economically under Donald Trump versus under Joe Biden. Now, once again, it may not necessarily be a fair fight, I should say, because again, we know that the majority, or at least the second half of Donald Trump's presidency, led us into the pandemic. But either way, we're going to talk about that and more. We also have a mom who has decided to charge her 3 children rent. So we're going to be having that discussion. Those of you who have your adult children living with you, should we charge them rent? What are your thoughts? Should we give them a break because it's hard out here for the millennials? All that and more on tomorrow's show. Again, thank you so much for listening, and we will be here tomorrow, same time, same place, on the Morning Takeover with James and Wisdom, 92.7 WKRA, your station for information and inspiration.
You're listening to The Morning Takeover with Wisdom's Daughter and James Mack on 92.7 WKRA-FM, your station for information and inspiration. Breaking news, current events, and trending stories on The Morning Takeover at 9.